Hi everyone, Amy here with amyswares, and I have a really fun Shimmer Powders card to share with you. Now this is Arctic Snow. This is a brand new stencil. I did use pixie spray on it. This is part of the October release at A Colorful Life Designs. I do have a panel of watercolor paper that was cut down with that fun rectangle die from LDRS Creative. I have two Nouveau shimmer powders, Blue Blitz and Meteorite Shower. I'm going to use these to create this card here. I'm going to show you how I did it, but this is one of my absolute favorite techniques. Now, you might be able to make this technique work without pixie spray, but I will tell you it works better with it. So if you have it, use it. I love to use it for this technique. I feel like it really helps grip onto that watercolor paper. I'm using my brayer to press it down even further just to make sure it's got a good seal. And I'm going to tap, not squeeze. Make sure you don't squeeze these bottles. Tap little like clusters of this powder all over this card panel. I'm going to do the same thing with some black, kind of just moving all over willy-nilly. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to be concise here. And I'm going to bring in a little spray bottle of water, and you're about to see the magic. I absolutely love this stuff. I feel like it's sorcery every time I do it. It's just amazing, the bursts of pigment that you'll see once that water hits it and activates it. It's just incredible. Now you can use a little brush if you need to. You can add more powder if you need to, but you don't want to leave it in its powder state because it will just brush right off the cardstock when the rest of it dries. So make sure you're liberal with your water. The more you do this technique, the more you kind of get a feel for how much water you need. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but it's quite forgiving, especially if you're using that pixie spray. So again, I'm just kind of working through, making sure I'm filling in all the openings of the stencil with that little blending brush, but I try and blend it as little as possible because I feel like the magic really exists with just kind of the organic feel of it. When you just let it dry on its own and don't use a heat tool, I feel like it does just magnificent things. Now, I don't let it dry before I remove the stencil. You can, but I have never been that patient. So I find that it works fine. If you carefully remove it, move slowly because you can kind of fling it around. If you want to wait and be patient, that's fine. But I don't think I've ever waited for this technique to dry, not once. I will gently pull it back, and you'll find that if you give it just a minute and you're using the right type of paper, like a watercolor paper, it will really kind of suck that water and that pigment in. So look how crisp this design is. This is nowhere near dry, guys. This is very, very wet, and it still looks great. So this is another reason I'd like to not let it dry, is I can create a monoprint. Now you could still let it dry and probably reactivate it with water and still get the second monoprint, but again, reference back to my lack of patience. I could just never wait that long. So I flip it over, put it down on another piece of watercolor paper, and I'm just using a paper towel and my brayer, and you get this nice subtle additional print. Now I'm not going to make a card with this today, but I will put it in my chocolate box for a future card. Now this is my binder, which I have for sentiment strips and also for my holiday sentiments. So I'm going to flip through and figure out which one is going to look great with this background design. Now I have quite a few that would have worked, but as you saw, I did end up using that Let It Snow sentiment. It has the nice word layer with the shadow layer, and I felt like it really kind of popped off the background. Now I do believe that is also LDRS Creative, but I do think it might be discontinued, so I apologize. I will link whatever is available in the video description box below, as well as the stencil link and everything else that I use. And if you do use my links, it's no additional cost to you. Now, if you do shop at A Colorful Life Designs for stencils or stamps, or like you can see this beautiful card bling, be sure to use my coupon AmyFan10 and save on your complete order. Now, I did ultimately end up going with the gold just so it tied in with the sentiment, but I do have so many other blues that would have worked beautifully with the design, so it's totally up to you. Put them down in an odd number, and I popped up that sentiment with a little bit of foam tape, attached it to an A2 size card base, and there you go. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. So be sure to check out the rest of the October release, and don't forget to use my coupon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.